Huh. Why doesn't it say I'm live? This is weird. So I'm going to start talking about content that is on my channel. I had someone today who said that they didn't like how I was saying water body names in my videos, and like I was trying to do a challenge where I was going around to trout streams to increase interest in trout fishing, because a lot of the streams you go to, you really don't see them many people. And like I was trying to do a challenge where I was going around the trout streams to increase interest in trout fishing, because a lot of the streams you go to, you really don't see them many videos. And like I was trying to do a challenge. Hi, Badger Farm Girl. Hi, California Greenhorn. What's up? I'm just talking about some comments someone made. Like someone left a bunch of dislikes on my one video today, and he like said he hated how I was saying all the places I was fishing, because then he was all worried about people fishing there, because all I wanted to catch was the biggest fish and boost his ego. Where on my channel, my goal is to get more people interested in fishing because I love fishing. Hi, Urban Fisherman. Hi, Catfish Bill. Hi, NJ Fishing and Outdoors. And like I noticed with my videos that they get more views when I have the water body where I was fishing, because like if I want to watch a video of like somewhere that I search, like I want to look for people fishing for the type of species or where I'm fishing at, because I want something that I can learn something from. Like I don't like watching videos of people just catching fish gets old after a while. Like you need to have some unique content to your channel. Oh, I was just talking about someone who frustrated me this morning. It's no big deal though. He's just a hater. How are you doing, Catfish Bill? Hi, Urban Fisherman. Hi, NJ Fishing and Outdoors. So like, what is your guys' opinions about like naming the place where you're fishing at? Because I'm curious what you guys think. Because I see some people do it and some people hate it, but I think as your channel grows, it'll get worse or better. But I'm just curious what everyone else thinks about it. I'm also running some samples now in my lab and weighing them on this instrument that's really slow for water retention. So I was busy today. I'm trying to also edit this paper that I'm finishing up. So that's keeping me busy. Hi, Greek Legend. How are you doing? So I'm trying to edit this paper and get it wrapped up so we can submit it for publication. How are you doing, County Line? I'm doing pretty well. We got out fishing yesterday. I've just had a busy day at work. I know that's unfortunate, Greenhorn Fisherman. On some of my videos lately, I've gotten skunked too, but I also have been going to new places I don't know. I agree with you, Badger Farm Girl. It takes a lot of effort. Like the reason I catch fish is because I go out and try, and I know where they're at on the places around here. Like it's not like you can like go out on Lake Mendota and just drill a hole and catch a fish. Like you actually have to move around and actually fish there. Or like sometimes in some of the places I fish, like Lake Monona Bay, like the fish will be really picky on one bait, so you just got to keep experimenting until you try, and like that takes time on the water. So it's like my videos are like my 5-minute videos sometimes are 4 or 8 hours on the water. So I don't think it's a big deal, and like naming it has helped bring in some local people who are interested in my content. I know that's part of the journey. Yeah, I agree with you, Wes. You just got to keep searching. So it's like I like the exploration part too. So I like fishing on different water bodies and see what happens. Like you never know until it happens. Yeah, I agree with you, Dave's adventure. Like on the one slough I fish, I did not list the title where I've caught a bunch of snaky northerns because it's like a 20-acre slough. But if I fish on like Monona Bay, which everybody knows about, and there's 300 people out there fishing, I don't think it really matters. And if you just go out there and experiment with jigs and spikes and wax rooms, you'll catch fish. But you have to actually go out there and fish and not, but like some days you don't do well, you just got to go out and try though. That's the key part to fishing. Or even like this last year, I tried going to fishing on Lake Michigan and I heard people were getting limits of cohos and I had like orange dodgers and peanut flies and I rigged them up with 20-pound line and I trolled for like 5 hours and didn't catch a single fish. And then people all around me weren't catching fish. So like and then I found out like you're supposed to use 50-pound braid to hook up 50-pound fluorocarbon to hook up to the dodgers and not like 20-pound mono, because I thought like with a spoon or crankbait you get more action from lighter line, or where with the trolling fly you get less action from lighter line, and you get more action in the bait from the dodger when you have heavier line. So like some of that stuff you either have to learn from someone or you have to find from experimenting. And that's what you get when you learn when you try fishing different bodies of water, which is the fun part of fishing. And why it's not called catching. So that's the part of the adventure. So it's all fun. Yeah, that's a good idea, Dave. Like, I think there's plenty of resources you can do to look into that too. I'm weighing a sample, so I'll be back in a second. But like, you can like look at the lake maps and all sorts of resources available, and like, yeah, I agree. Sounds right, Badger Farm. And then you can like use the lake map and different structure and so forth, and depending upon the time of year and water temp and everything, you can use that to pattern where the fish are at. Because like I know with muskie fishing, like when seasons opens, the fish will frequently be up really shallow where the water is the warmest. And then as the season progresses, they seem to move out deeper. So it just depends upon the water body too. Like if the forage is out deep, they'll be out deep. But if they're up shallow, they'll be up shallow. Like right now, you'll accidentally catch muskies if you're walleye fishing in like 3 feet of water. Yeah, you're right, Dave. People just don't use the resources enough. Like there's so many resources you can use like on the internet to find out stuff about fishing for different things that'll help shorten your learning curve, which is awesome. And then like I can watch some videos on like redfish fishing or snook fishing in the ocean that I like, or I can watch videos of people like fishing for muskie or trout or and northern and walleye and bass in Wisconsin. Yeah, I agree with your precision angling. Thanks for stopping in. Not much is up, Gavin. How's the fishing going in Florida for you? I'm just running an instrument and doing a live stream. Like I use a Fishity app too on my phone, and like I know for ice fishing it really helps because we can find where the bars are, and you start drilling holes around the bars, and then you can see fish. Hi, Marley. Thanks for stopping by. So like the electronics on your phone and the GPSs really help you find spots to fish, especially on structure-oriented fish. Like when you're ice fishing, a lot of the fish are related to structure. Same thing with like walleye fishing and bass and muskie fishing in some lakes. Like certain lakes, they're all on like the rock bars and points. So you can use your resources to improve finding fish and speed up the process. It's a lot faster than driving your boat around the lake and finding fish. Although sometimes trolling and just covering water helps to find fish too. You just never know. Like I know this one lake we fished up north this last year, like we used to be able to catch a bunch of northerns out there casting, and this year we started casting and we couldn't catch anything. And then I just took my trolling planer boards and put out bucktails, and then I started getting a bunch of hits, and they were just like scattered out everywhere. They weren't just like concentrated in one spot. But just like all depends on what lake you're fishing. Way to go, Gavin. I think I'm at like 1180 right now. My channel's really growing a lot. I'm really glad of everyone who's supporting my channel and topping in. Ethan Brooks Fishing. I don't know who Ethan Brooks Fishing is. I don't know. I might be subscribed to him. I'm not sure. I'll look up his channel when I'm done with this live stream, because I'm doing this on my computer and I'm reading the chat on my phone. Ice season is basically over with. I think a few people are out ice fishing the last couple days, but it's pretty sketchy. And I took my boat out on Sunday with my dad and brother and a friend, and we caught like 3 sturgeon, and I lost a sturgeon that was probably like 55 or 60 inches. And we caught a bunch of short walleyes and saugers. I'll be in the process of editing that. That fish my dad caught on the ultralight was one of the biggest fish I've caught on an seen caught on an ultralight. That was a lot of fun. I had one that snapped my line, which happens because we're only running like I usually only run 6 or 8 pound mono for walleye fishing. So it's not like it's that heavy a line, and it's really all you need for catching 5 pound walleye. But in this spot, your buddy went through. My dad's friend went through in like 5 feet of water on Lake Mendota a couple of weeks ago. That was not very smart. I haven't been out ice fishing for like 2 weeks now. People were back out on Monona Bay a couple days ago when it solided back up on the triangles, but I don't know how solid it was. So it should hopefully melt. Hopefully it warms up a little here and just continues to melt. But we'll see if that actually happens. It looks like it's supposed to slowly warm up this week, which is good. Hopefully it'll get the trout fishing biting for my challenge I'm doing too, where I'm exploring trout streams, because it's been a tough bite lately. And like I've noticed when I've been fishing for them lately, like the only fish are in really deep pools and not that many fish are up in shallower water. So usually as the water warms up, a lot of the smaller fish move up into the ripples, and you can like drift nymphs through it or cast spinners into it and catch them. Whereas lately, the only active fish are in like really deep pools, and like the last creek I fished didn't have any deep pools, so it wasn't very productive water. I only had like 3 bites. And I just have been doing this exploration for fun because I just like driving around and checking out the different areas. And probably if I watch the videos in 20 years from now, I'll be like urban areas around some of these streams because Dane County is growing pretty fast, but we'll have to see. So hopefully I'll get out some night this week fishing. It's nice that we have daylight savings time and you have an hour extra to fish at night, unless you get stuck in the lab like I am now, measuring these things. So that kind of sucks now, but that's how it's going. And I ordered some lures to make, so I might do some lure making videos if you guys would like that. I made one like bucktail making video a while back, and the camera footage is like horrible on it, but it had like 3,500 views, so it must be showing up in search engines somewhere. And I was trying to do this Wish app challenge, which I need to fish some better water to complete for trout. The baits were kind of bigger than I expected, though. I don't even know why I did the challenge. I should have just done one from Walmart. High Ranks Productions, how are you doing today? I'm just working in the lab. I'm going to be in the lab late tonight. I'm doing a live stream on Instagram. Hey, Ranks. Did any of you guys do any fishing this weekend? I know a lot of areas have had flooding or cold weather and have some interesting weather going on. So I know fishing's been kind of inconsistent for a lot of people, but it should start heating back up as spring starts coming around. So I'm excited for that. I also have a mystery tackle box that should open too. I don't know what people, hey, if you're watching this, you should say what you think of MTB unboxings or slams or so forth. Because it seems like everybody does them. Like they're kind of, I might come to Port Washington, Badger Farm Girl, or I might go to Milwaukee. I'm not sure. I want to catch some brownies. I smoked some up the other day. They were pretty good. I should do a multi-species challenge. I could probably do that soon. I could try that. I don't know where I go to do it, but we could possibly do that. Like on Lake Mendota or the Wisconsin River or something. I don't know about the perch on the Wisconsin River, but you could get everything else. I know one day on Labor Day weekend last year, I caught like 7 or 8 species of fish in a day out of the Wisconsin River, but a lot of them are rough fish. I was thinking it would be fun to do. I kind of think it would be fun to just get a contest with a bunch of people and go out in the Wisconsin River in the summer when you catch like red horse and catfish and sheephead and a bunch of junks and buy Barbie poles and just have a total inch fish contest too with someone where you just see how many inches of fish you can catch on kids' rods. So that would be kind of fun. Because all that stuff, even though they're rough, some of them are not that desirable to eat. They're pretty fun to catch. I will, Badger Farm Girl. That sucks that it's flooded by you. A junk fishing contest. I'd be down to do that. We'll have Badger Farm Girl. That would be fun if we get a whole group of people together and just do a junk fishing contest and just go for total inches of fish. Because it would be a lot of fun. And they're pretty easy to catch in some areas. Like if you went to like the Rock or Wisconsin River or Wolf or Fox, you could catch a bunch of them. We'll have to arrange that this summer to do. That would be a lot of fun. Because there's plenty of them around. I agree with your precision angling. Like I'm just referring to like sheep's head and carp and red horse and suckers. Like some of the rivers here are just loaded full of them and you can catch a whole bunch of them. So it's just fun to catch. And like if you take a kid out fishing, it's a lot of fun. So I think it would be a fun contest to do if we got a big group of people together. That sounds like a good idea, Badger Farm Girl. Just bring a big group of people and just see how much stuff we can catch in a day and just use worms and carp bait and stuff. I agree. I hear that you're precision angling. I know they don't like bass there because we went on a trip to Maine a long time ago and we like caught some smallmouth bass and like the DNR wanted you to keep every one of them that you caught in Acadia National Park because they just wanted Atlantic salmon in the lake. And I know in a lot of areas they don't like northerns because they think they eat all the trout because northerns basically eat everything that swims. Although on the cold lakes, they'll get really big. Hi, southern fishermen. Well, that sounds fun, Dave. I'll just have to find a kid to bring. I think in this state, people would really frown upon you for keeping or harvesting any largemouth or smallmouth or muskie. Like here, most anglers for them are strictly catch and release. Like you can, Like you can eat, bass are pretty inconsistent how they taste, and most people don't keep them, but occasionally, like I'll eat one. Sometimes the largemouths taste awful though, so I don't eat that many of them. You like bass, Topwater King? I know you do. But it just depends upon the area, what people want to catch. Hi, Ben Chavez. Because in some areas, people want cold water species and they're just introduced in for sport fishing, but other areas, they don't really care for them. Yeah, smallmouths are a blast to catch. It's really fun in the summer when they jump a lot and are aggressive. And Wisconsin has a lot of good smallmouth fisheries too, like the Green Bay and Sturgeon Bay area is great, Squamigan Bay. You don't eat bass, Topwater King? I occasionally keep one. Usually when I catch them, I don't really fish for bass that much. We have our pond that's overpopulated with them, which I'll keep a few from once in a while because there's no big ones in there. They're like all dinks. Like you'll catch 50 bass and the biggest one is like 16 inches. But usually I don't keep them. Usually I just catch them on musky baits. Like I always catch a ton of them when I'm burning bucktails or fishing glide baits up shallow. So that's most of my bass fishing. Like I'll catch plenty of bass in my videos because like when we go out fishing on the Wisconsin River, we always catch bass, but it's not like we're completely targeting them. You usually catch sunnies and creek chubs. I usually keep bluegills and walleyes to eat, and like if I go on Lake Michigan, I'll keep the fish too. I'll keep a few trout from the streams too. Like I don't keep that many, but I'll keep an occasional one. They're good eating. Some of the creeks have plenty of fish in them, and it's not that big a deal if you keep them. But I know some people, everyone has their own opinion on catch and release or keeping. Walleye is very good. That's what most people fish. Most people who fish for walleyes fish to keep them, unless you like go to the pier and go after a trophy or Lake Erie. Pike is good too. I agree with you. I have kept some pike. If you take the Y bones out of it, it's pretty good deep fried. Or if you just bake it, it's really good too. It has more flavor to it than like a walleye or a bluegill does. Like perch and walleye are pretty mild flavored fish, so they eat good, and crappie. So usually if I want fish to eat, I'll fish for panfish, but a lot of times I fish for bigger fish. And I also keep some fish up from Lake Michigan. The fish on the Wisconsin side of Lake Michigan don't even reproduce because the streams are really poor substrate for reproduction. You like pickled pike? I haven't made that pickled pike in a while. The last time we made it, we didn't eat all of it. So I haven't made it since then. I made some smoked coho and brown trout the other day. Those were pretty good. Yeah, muskie or bony. I haven't ate one for like 20 years before I got into muskie fishing. Pike or bony too. Muskie fishermen are super against keeping them. Like they're completely managed as a trophy species. But you can keep pike. Thanks for stopping in and NJ Fishing Outdoors. But you just have to remove the bones from them. I keep a few pike when I'm ice fishing, and once in a while, if I have someone who wants one, I'll keep one that I accidentally catch one while I'm muskie fishing if someone wants one to eat. But usually I catch plenty of fish to eat. And I like to catch bluegills through the ice to eat because that's my favorite fish to eat. I hear you. I know, Dave. Pretty soon the whole state's going to be 50 inches everywhere except a few lakes where they're stunted. Because I see on this Wisconsin, I see on the Conservation Congress, like every time a thing goes to increase the muskie length limit, it passes every time. So it's basically like all the muskie anglers who are just really against people keeping them will show up at the meetings and tell people to increase the length limit on them. Like the biology isn't even there to show that the fish get to 50 inches in a lot of the water. Like I know they made Lake Wingra 50 inches this year, and there's probably one muskie in the whole lake that will even reach 50 inches. Like the fish will be like 42 inches in some lakes and thin. So they're probably, most of the muskies are probably dying well before they reach the 50-inch length limit, even in some of the lakes. Like I know in certain waters they'll get that big, but not everywhere. There needs to be forage available for them to get that big. And they probably stock more than they need in some of the lakes. Like it's still fun to catch them. Yeah, I put fish in milk sometimes. I know a lot of people do that with catfish. Because catfish is a little muddy and you need to get some of the stuff to soak out of it. That's the only fish I've ever put into milk. You're right, Yakin with Sarah. It takes the gamey flavor out. I know soaking in salt water seems to help something like catfish too. I've been so surprised with the quality of fish you've caught in your videos, Precision Angling. Like you've caught some really nice pike and some giant crappies in your videos. So the fish those fish must be getting really big in your waters. Like I was really surprised to see you catching the 15-inch crappies in your videos. That lake must have a lot of monsters in it if you caught a bunch of them there. Like a lot of the lakes around here, you hardly catch any crappies bigger than 11 or 12. Like other than from a private pond, I've only caught like 1 or 2 13-inch crappies and 1 or 2 14-inch crappies. I caught one from our own pond that was like 15. That's awesome, Topwater King. The biggest muskie I've caught was 51. The last couple of years when I've been fishing around Madison and not taking any trips anywhere, the biggest one I've caught was like 42 or 43. I haven't caught any huge ones the last couple of years. So I think I need to take some trips to like Minnesota or Lake St. Clair or to Green Bay to catch some bigger ones. Because those are the areas where people are catching a lot of the huge ones. But it also requires time and driving. That's awesome. Here, if you had that word come out of crappies that big, there'd be people shoulder to shoulder trying to catch them. Like at the inlets or places where they come up by shore, like there'll be tons of people fishing for them because people love to eat the crappies. And like the bigger ones, you get a lot of meat off of, although the 10 inchers taste a lot better than the 15 inchers. Come to the UP. I've only drove through the UP a couple times. It'd be fun to go there sometime though. I'm gonna be getting really busy this year too though, because I need to wrap up my PhD within like the next year and a half or so. So that's going to keep me busier and busier and have me less and less time out fishing. And I'm gonna end up. So are you by Lake Michigan in the UP or by Lake Superior in the UP? Because that's a huge crappie, Topwater King. I would love to catch one that big, but I don't hear that many around me that big. So you're by Lake Michigan? So are you like north of Bay de Noc then? Yeah, I know, Dave. It's been a lot of time in school. I've been in school for like 20 years. And I've just been studying soil. Like I have soil from like 4 different states here that I'm working with. I have some from Wisconsin and South Dakota and North Dakota and North Carolina. This instrument I'm running right here is like the boringest instrument in the world. It takes like 10 minutes to read a sample. So you basically just sit in the lab and wait for it to beep. I ran like hundreds and hundreds of samples through it though throughout my past, and like it measures the relative humidity of the sample, and then you are able to convert that to the pressure that water is held in the soil, which is cool, and it measures the soil, how much water is held in the soil when it's super dry. That's cool. Lake Superior is so beautiful though. Like my dad has land by cornucopia, and like you go on the lake and you'll be on like only 1 or 2 boats out there. It's also kind of scary if it gets nasty out because there's no one else there to help you. But I really think it's pretty. Like I know where I go on Lake Michigan, there's a ton of people there because I go right by the cities. You go camping there? Yeah, I go camping in northern Wisconsin sometimes. We might go up there sometime in April. Like I think our plans are pretty loose. I'll probably make a trip up there. We might try to catch some steelhead or go out on the lake and just troll for coho and browns. Because the fish are up really shallow in the spring, and depending on how dirty the water is, like they'll be in Chequamegon Bay or the bay in the UP where it's warmer on the south side, and then like all the fish move out deeper as the water warms up. So you can catch like salmon and brown trout up real shallow there. So that's fun. And there's like no one up there now. Like when you go up there in the middle of summer, there's a ton of people up there. So it's still fun and beautiful and nice to get away. It's just like a 5.5 hour drive from me, and it's tough for me to get away from the lab for like 3 or 4 days. So they constantly have samples running, which I'm gonna have running for a long time. So that's a disadvantage of what I do, but it's nice with my work that I can like get out fishing for a couple hours all the time. Like any day I want to, I can go and take like a 2-hour fishing break. It's awesome. And there's a lake like 150 yards behind the lab I'm working in now. So I can go out there and fish. And there's a couple other lakes around here too. Like this lake here doesn't have muskies in it. You want to go to Erie for smallies? So what state are you in, Topwater King? Are you in Southern Illinois? I hear there's some big smallies there. I catch a lot of them out of the Wisconsin River in the summertime. I don't seem to catch that many of them this time of year, though. I think maybe if we work to shallower depths for walleyes, we'd probably get more smallies now. But I think the smallies are all, the depths we've been working for walleyes is all pretty deep. So I don't, like once in a while when I'm walleye fishing this time of year, I'll get smallies out of like 40-degree water. But usually I don't reliably catch them out of 40-degree water. But I know sometimes if you find where they're at, you'll catch them. But it's like you just got to know the location where they're at. Like sometimes they'll be where a rock bar comes out of the deep and they'll be sitting on the edge of that. That seems to be where I find them. Or last year, the one day in like the middle of March, we found them in Lake Wisconsin in like 15 feet of water right adjacent to where we were walleye fishing. And when we drift over this spot, we'd catch a smallie on a jig and minnow. But that was just like accidentally stumbling up on the spot. But that's just how it goes sometimes. I guess if I intentionally fish for them, I might find more of them. But like the water temp is only like 34 degrees. Southeast Illinois, there's not much for smallies there. Are there many rivers? There's not that many rivers down there, right? Or do the rivers not have smallies in them? I know there's some smallies in the Mississippi, but I don't know how far down they go. I know sometimes we went to the boundary bars, like when if you go in like June, when they're up on their beds, they'll like hit like skitter pops, and it's so much fun. Like you'll have 4-pound smallies just blow up on top waters. It's so entertaining to watch them hit top waters. Up shallow, and they fight really well too, and they always jump. I sort of want to catch some up, but hopefully we'll start catching some soon. I think we need the weather to warm up a little bit for the bass to get going here, though. Except in my own pond, I don't know. I don't catch that many bass other than like on crappie minnows this time of year. Usually when I catch game fish right after ice out, it's on like, sometimes you can get northerns on like MEPS 2s or 3s or 4s and stick baits or like bass plastics and a few bass. But like you have to fish kind of baits that are not real aggressively moved fish to catch them right after ice out, or like twister tails. I almost want to try fly fishing for a northern once the ice comes out and like make some huge Galdane streamers to try to catch them. They only have dink largemouths. The dink largemouths aren't even that fun to catch after a while. Like they fight fun for a little while, but it's not like they put up a lot of fight. There's probably like a lot of suckers and stuff in the rivers down there too, because they're all warm water rivers. But it's better than catching nothing, I guess. I suppose it's all mostly reservoirs fishing down there. I've been lucky to live in Wisconsin, where we just have a ton of lakes to fish on, just because we have a lot of natural lakes that are natural here. Because it's been glaciated, and there's lots of kettles and cames which have formed lakes. Whereas I know states farther south don't have as many lakes as we have here. Or in Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes. Or Michigan has a lot of lakes too. I think I'm gonna take a couple trips to northern Wisconsin this year too. I don't know when I'm gonna take them. Like I don't have a set plan on when I do things. Like I know the next month or two, I might go to Lake Michigan and fish for brown trout a few times, or fish with Badger Farm Girl in Port Washington. And I'll probably do a lot of walleye fishing and a little stream trout fishing. Here we can't fish with, hi Peacock Pete, how are you doing today? But here you can't fish for, what do you want to know about, Dave? But like here you can't fish for trout with live bait until the first Saturday in May. Hey Dave, do you ever go up to the pier? Because I want to go up to the pier once and make a video there of catching some big walleyes, because I know there's some big ones there. And isn't that close to you? Because I've never fished the pier before, and I want to catch some big walleyes just one day. And I know I don't really care about keeping them, but I just would be fun to go out and catch a bunch of like 25-inch walleyes when they're up there. Or I guess you could troll out on the bay for them once you can keep them too. Do you ever fish those areas? Because so you're near Appleton, Dave? I hear they've mostly been getting smaller fish so far, though. The bigger ones will probably be up soon. I'll message you if I head up into the Appleton area. I don't usually head up in that part of the state very often. Like, I mostly just fish in around the Madison area, and once in a while I'll go over like Port Washington or Milwaukee, or I'll go to the Driftless area trout fishing, or the Wisconsin River by like Spring Green area fishing. And occasionally I'll head up to northern Wisconsin fishing. That's usually where I fish at. But I'm down to fishing with any of my subscribers this year, or doing any collaborations with people in Wisconsin. Like, I think the rough fish tournament idea we came up with would be a lot of fun. We just need to schedule a time, and we obviously need to wait till like May or June when they start biting well, because that would be a lot of fun. So did any of you go out fishing this last weekend? Yeah, that's a great idea, Badger Farm Girl. We just need to do a meetup somewhere and go out fishing together. Like, I don't really care what it's for. I just think it'd be fun to go out fishing together. Like, I'm down to fish for any species in Wisconsin. Like last year, I think I caught like 20 or 25 species of fish on video. Just because there's so much diversity of fish to fish here, because you went bass fishing? I saw your video. I saw you caught a couple. That's good. That's cool that you go skiing precision angling. You caught 2 trout out of the sports show pond. I'm really proud of you. I heard they were biting really well in there. The stock trout are kind of funny to catch, because I know last year they stocked them in the creek by my house, and like we just took fake salmon eggs, and I just would drift them on a split shot and hook down the creek, and you could catch them one after another on fake salmon eggs. Like if you use lures, like they'd be a little harder to catch, but like if you use the fake spawn, they'd love that. You can start brook trout fishing on April 1st. Here, the only native trout we actually have are brook trout, but most of our streams have brown trout. Like the smaller streams have brookies in them, and some of the larger streams have brookies in them, but the brown trout do a lot better in Wisconsin than the brook trout do. Like, I don't really care what they catch. Like, brooks are what are native. So, like, in some creeks, they went to the point of making rules where you can keep like 5 browns a day, but you can't keep any brookies. Thanks for stopping in, Top Water King. But in a lot of those streams, like farther downstream from where they have that's early for them to spawn. I guess they'd probably spawn in September or October. But so yeah, here trout season doesn't close till October 15th now, and there's a catch and release season from the first Saturday in January through first Saturday in May, and then you can use any type of tackle from like May 6th or May 5th through the end of the season on October 15th. So because they spawn in the fall, they don't seem to be very active in the cold water though when it's really cold. I don't think they get very active till it's up. The water temp gets up into the 40s. But it's still fun to just go out and drive around and check places out. So I like doing that. Huh, that's weird that the streams close mid-August and the late fall, the ponds close to the end of September. I know later in the season, the trout seem to bite best for me, like in April and May and June, and then when the water warms up, they seem to slow down, and then like in September, the fishing seems to pick back up again for trout in the stream for some reason by me. Like the bigger male trout are really aggressive towards the end of the season because I think they're just trying to hit at things out of aggression, like sort of like salmon do. And the water temp gets better because some of the water temps get a little high for trout. So that's that. I'm really excited for muskie fishing. Yeah, that's kind of weird for it to close in the middle of August. I think they'd at least wait till the end of tourism season or something till when people stop coming there, traveling there for various reasons. Are you in Central Maine precision angling? And do you fit? Yeah, that makes sense. Do you fish some of the same waters that Danielle Hinckley fishes on? Because I watched some of her videos too, and I've watched a bunch of other ice fishing videos from Maine. But I've only traveled there once. It's a beautiful state, but I just don't travel up to the East Coast very often. And since I've been in school, I haven't really taken that many long vacations. Like the only vacations I went on one vacation to northern Wisconsin this year for a week, but most of the other trips I've just taken have been like 3 or 4 day trips because I always can't take a long period of time off to travel to places. But I might travel down to Brazil this year to go to a conference. I hope I get my abstract accepted, so I hear about that soon. I don't know if I'll be able to get any fishing in down there, but that would be fun. I see. Thanks for letting me know. I was just curious because I've watched both of your videos. I really like how I've created a network on YouTube where I have people like all across the country to watch videos from because it's pretty interesting how people like fish similar species in completely different latitude and longitude, and like some are in completely different bodies. Both your crappie videos come from the same lake. I see. I don't even know if I've watched your crappie videos. I've got connected with so many people that I have a hard time keeping up to them. Like I try to watch as much content as possible, but I don't watch everyone's videos that I'm subscribed to. Like there's certain channels that I always watch their videos and other channels which I don't always watch their videos, but it really just comes down to the title of the video and how much time I have to watch the videos. Like lately I've just been focusing more on getting content for my channel rather than connecting with more channels. Len, YouTube is kind of making me frustrated because I've been over 1,000 subscribers in the amount of view time for like 3 weeks and I haven't heard back from them, and it says I'm in review for the partnership program. Like I almost don't even care if I'm in the partnership program now because I kind of like everyone's videos now without commercials because I get impatient scrolling through all the commercials. But it also kind of frustrates me that they said they were going to take a week to get back to me on it, but they've been like, I've been in review for like 3 weeks. Thanks for stopping by, Ben. I don't know. Next time I do a live stream, I should schedule it ahead of time rather than just randomly go live. Like I just ended up being at work today and I'm just running this instrument, which is slow. So I decided to do a live stream because I was trying to do one every week, but I haven't done one for like 2 weeks. But I should try to schedule when I do them and like come up with something to talk about. I was talking with Yak and with Sarah, and I think we're gonna do a live stream where we talk about ice fishing one of these days too. Thanks for stopping by, Precision Angling. I enjoyed chatting with you, and I look forward to your upcoming videos. I really like your channel. And I'm surprised that you guys do well ice fishing on night crawlers, because I never hear of anyone around here ice fishing with night crawlers. Like everybody uses wax worms or spikes for bait or plastics. Like I should use plastics more, but I just don't have the confidence in them. Like sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. But like I don't know. I just always fish with what I'm confident in as live bait when I ice fish. Like same thing with walleye fishing. Like I don't know why, but where I fished, like once the water warms up, like I do better on plastics. But like right now, the fish seem to really want just minnows. Like the only downside to this is like the last couple of times we went, they've been wanting minnows like sitting on bottom, not moving around much. And the downside to that is where I fished, the bottom marker on your locator is just loaded with marks on bottom. So I don't know whether the marks are little lake sturgeon or the marks are walleyes. And when you have your bait like sitting still on bottom, you catch a bunch of lake sturgeon if you're in the wrong spot, and they're just mixed in with the walleyes. So like if you drift fish, you can kind of deter catching the lake sturgeon, but if you anchor fish, you end up catching some more lake sturgeon. With lake sturgeon, there's only like a 30-day season in Wisconsin for them. So there's not a very long season that you can fish for them. So that's kind of unfortunate, but they're also trying to protect them. Like they almost went extinct. Like then when people originally settled in Wisconsin, they like had piles of them. They just like took out of the rivers because they were like a nuisance, and there was a bunch of them like 7 feet long in parts of the river. And now, then they did get really low for a while, and now they've been reintroducing them and they've been coming back. So that's a good thing that their fishery is coming back. Unfortunately, at the spot where my last couple videos for, they found big head carp, which are a nuisance and are not a good thing for there. And I hope they don't get too abundant because we're far enough north, because I don't want them to be like the rivers in Illinois where there's hundreds of them. But I guess we'll see with what happens with them. The invasives are really bad for water bodies, but also with like your boat, it's difficult to keep your boat clean and so forth. Like I try to clean every weed out of my boat, and like I know some of the time we went out on Lake Michigan, we end up with like quagga mussel shells in our boats, but it just is difficult to sometimes control the invasives in your boats. Like you almost need to pressure wash your boat every time you take out of a lake to avoid spreading the invasive species. Like I know there are a nuisance in our really alter ecosystems though. Like some places have really changed from all the non-native species getting in there. And like Lake Michigan's fisheries, like almost like half the fish people fish for are non-native, which is kind of silly, but it is how it is. But it's not like they're invasive there. Like I know in some areas they consider northern pike and largemouth bass invasive too. I guess it just depends upon where you're at. So, but it is really unfortunate for our aquatic ecosystems and it's changing them. And I know, like I was seeing some studies on like spiny water fleas and various things in the lake right behind me, and like they're really altering the plankton communities, which will probably affect. What do I know about gizzard shads? That they sometimes die off. Like I think, thanks for stopping by, Precision Angling. Yeah, that's a nuisance part, Dave. All I know about gizzard shad is like we're in this part of this, we're at like the northern boundary of their range. And that like if we have really cold winters, there'll be big die-offs of them. But if we have warmer winters, their populations will get really high. And I know like in Lake Wisconsin and some of the places, like the fishery will be really difficult when there's lots of little gizzard shad, just because you have to do something kind of unique to get a bite from them when there's not many of them. But now but when there's a lot of the gizzard shad, the fish are kind of picky with what they eat. But like the northern muskies and big walleyes will go out and eat just tons of them when there's huge schools of them. And like the fish will follow around the little 3-4 inches when they're young of the year. I've seen some dead ones. I've seen some like dead 10, 12 inches floating in the Wisconsin River too. But I think some years they die off and other years they survive well. And then they just go through cycles where they're more or less abundant. And the big game fish just eat a ton of them. And they kind of make the fish like have more of a suspended relation though with where they're at. I've never done any fishing in the South. I've only fished I fished in Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, and Montana in the past, and in Maine. I really haven't traveled to that many other states. I've only traveled to Florida once, which was for a conference, and I didn't get any time to do any fishing because I was busy. So I really haven't done much fishing in the South. I realized from a lot of the southern channels, like a lot of people are either into saltwater and bass fishing or into like bass and catfish fishing. That seems to be the popular fish down there. But and there's panfish too, and some nice crappies I've seen. But I've never really traveled much down to the South. I guess one day I'd eventually like to do it. Like my goal is right now is just to finish my PhD, and I'm gonna see where I go. Like my PhD is studying how sodicity of irrigation water changes soil chemical and physical properties. So I'm just gonna see where there's job opportunities when I finish, and that's gonna determine where I move to. But that's probably more favorable to the Western US, so I might end up there. We'll find out when I finish. But I'm down to do some southern fishing sometime. I just need to find time to travel down there. And I want to catch more varieties of fish too. Like I would sort of want to do some deep sea fishing sometimes too. That looks like a lot of fun. I've been watching some videos where people are going out like out of Florida and they're catching a wide variety of species. And it looks like you can catch some like redfish and sheep's head and stuff like that up shallower too. And I really want to catch a shark at some point in time. We'll see when that happens. I just need to talk to some people who go fishing for sharks. I really want to catch one. But I guess I'll just wait till I finish my schooling up, and then I'll see where I move, and then I'll start fishing other areas. But I guess we'll just figure out where. Yeah, I agree with you, the old basser. I'm just focusing on finishing my education, and I'm going to see where I'm going to go from there. I guess I could end up doing a postdoc somewhere, or I could take a job right somewhere. I don't really know what I'm going to do. Like, I'm open to whatever opportunities I can pursue with my degree. I was lucky enough to be able to get some grants to pay for my PhD. So it's not like I'm going in a lot of debt from it, which because I've worked hard and I was able to find research that was funded through different granting agencies, which is awesome. So like I looked around when I was finishing up my master's, and then I saw that there was an opportunity available at UW-Madison. So then I just moved back to Wisconsin. I'm originally from by Madison. So I've fished this area where I'm at for a long time. And I've also fished quite a bit by Stevens Point area in Wisconsin and by Fargo area in North Dakota. Ice season is a lot longer in Fargo than it is in southern Wisconsin though. Like every year in Fargo I had like 5 months of ice fishing. Like here I've only had last year I only had like a month and a half or two months of ice fishing. This year I had like 3 months of ice fishing, but Out here, the ice winter season was a little shorter than up in Fargo. This year we did have some cold weather though. But I'm still the nut who goes out when it's 0 out because I just love going fishing, whether it's sunny or rainy or windy. The only thing I do when it's windy is like it controls where I fish at though, because I don't like going out on big lakes when it's windy because my boat's not big enough. But I still try to get out somewhere. The nice thing is there's streams and rivers to fish by me. So when it's rainy out, that's where I go fishing. And I don't know, this last year I decided to try to grow my channel more. Like I had my channel for like 7 or 8 years now, and like when I first got my channel, I would just post occasionally some fish videos of me fishing. You're not a big fan of the cold weather. I know a lot of people aren't a big fan of the cold weather, but I'm used to it. I'm used to having all the seasons. So I guess if I moved to an area where it didn't get cold, like I would miss the snow. So that's just me though. Me being a crazy nut from Wisconsin. So hey, I think I'm gonna wrap up the stream. I've went for like an hour now. I'm gonna do a little more work before I head out for the night. I really appreciate everyone who stopped by the stream and has subscribed to my channel. And I hope you have a good night. And I appreciate you guys for showing up to my stream and watching my videos. Yeah, I agree with you, Dave. It was nice chatting with you all. I'll get in contact with you, Dave, and Badger Farmer, and we'll set up some type of fishing thing sometime. Have a nice night, everyone.